Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's video. So I wanted to talk to you today about why you feel so destroyed when the narcissist leaves you and why the narcissist needs supply like they do. So let's jump in. When you meet the narcissist, what they do to you, they have to, because they wear a mask, they have to nail you down quick if you're a primary source supply. So with them having to nail you down quick, we know it's within 6 months because they usually try to get you to marry them within usually less than 4 months. But so that's usually their aim if they happen to land on a primary source. A lot of times that may not happen because, things may occur and you may figure enough out to where you feel like they're toxic or you need to take some more time. But a lot of people have married them only to find themselves in a devastating situation. And I have done it myself. Let's go over when they meet you, how you get hooked with them so much. So they're kind of antisocial, at least the ones that I've dealt with, but not all of them. And so they come in, and antisocial would be the negative version of them. But what you see as shy and humility is what they change it into, because they change their hate. They turn it into what looks like love for you. But it's really, they hate. They hate, but they're infatuated. And the infatuation has to do with what their bag of goods will probably look like in the end. I mean, that's kind of the idea, right? When they're infatuated with you, they like a lot of your attributes and traits, and they feel like maybe they can copy them, learn them, and be able to produce them, generate them. So that's really what they love about you. And so they come in, at least what I've dealt with was a lot of times shy and humility, willing and won't say no in the love bomb phase. They are very friendly, and if they have looks to them, that just makes it even better. They usually give you sex really fast. All those things, and they move to your relationship in 3 or 4 months. I mean, that's basically what you feel like in the end. Because they got to go through all the motions and they want to get you nailed down. So they also know they don't have time. So this is what they do. And when they do this, they're kind of bombarding you and getting your intuition knocked out in a sense. It kind of bypasses your intuition because they're calling you, contacting you, talking to you, and keeping you distracted, and also telling you all these good things. And so when your intuition may pop up, it's almost like you'd run it right over. You're like, my intuition's wrong because they're telling me all these good things, and they're just like blowing smoke up your ass, is basically what they're doing. And you're receiving it. So what they will even tell you, but this is a big deal, that first impressions are everything. And that's why when they come in, they are perfect when they come in with their first impressions. They want to have good sex with you, be friendly, be willing to do anything and never say no. And they're going to come in with shyness and humility because that looks like that they're vulnerable, but it also looks like that they may have a little bit of anxiety to them and they've been hurt, right? Because they have victim mode type situations going on, stories you're going to hear. And then they give you unconditional acceptance. Now, this is a big one. When you get in a relationship with a narcissist, even if you feel like it's dysfunctional or it's like, all right, if they want to go out again, I'll go out with them again. But I didn't feel like there was too much there. Okay. That may occur. And if that's the case, but they keep wanting to go out and they're giving you this unconditional acceptance. Like, you're in there, it's like they got your back and they don't question it. So you're like, okay. And it makes you at some point, then they data mine you. And you can take that two different ways. You can take it as it's creepy, or depending if you could see through it to some degree. To me, I felt like it was a little creepy. Or you could take it as flattery, or a little bit of both. But they data mine you, and that's to get information, of course, so they can destroy you later and know how your inner workings are as fast as they can. Because the mask is going to slip, y'all. So they give you the unconditional acceptance, they data mine, and they have looks to them. They start mirroring you back to yourself. So it looks like they're your fake soulmate, twin flame situation. And you're the ideal person for them. And they idolize you. Okay. And then they future fake with you. Whether they're going to marry you or not, they're going to tell you that. Or they're going to plan a vacation and they're paying for it. Like a big one. Like outside the country, you know what I'm saying? And so they'll do these things and you're like, wow, this is pretty good. I mean, maybe we don't have so much in common, but she's cool, she's good looking, and all this stuff happened, and I'm gonna see where it goes. But the next thing is you feel like you need to treat them like they're treating you, which is overboard. Because they're giving you unconditional acceptance, because they're giving you all this love, and you feel like they're mirroring back you to yourself, and you feel like you need to give them the same type of treatment. So that's what you begin to do. So then you put them on a pedestal, and then you won't be able to tell them no, and then you pamper them, they pamper you, and then you're almost like worshiping each other. And so that's how it goes for a while, and then something will happen, or they'll get bored, or they'll find a new source of supply, or you'll slight them, and you'll get into devalue mode. They'll start to pick and chip away at your self-esteem. They'll start these little petty arguments, and they may rage out once or twice, and then they'll get you on eggshells. And then from the eggshells, then they may ghost you. And when they ghost you, and then they'll come back, and then they'll start breadcrumbing you, the hot and the cold. They'll give you they'll beat you with a stick, and then they'll give you the carrot. And they'll beat you with the stick and give you the carrot. And that's the hot and cold. That's to get your endocrine system hooked on them, so now you're getting addicted. So then when they start to ghost you, and then they triangulate you, to make this worse, they start to triangulate you. So now you're getting anxiety and paranoia and all kind of stuff going on. Meanwhile, then they start projecting. They're projecting all of their fears, all of their angers, all the cheating they've done. They're projecting it onto you. And because you're emotional and you're unaware that there is this thing called reactionary abuse, you have been taught this in childhood. So of course you're going to accept all of their negative fuel, and you're going to give them yours. You're going to do the energy transference, and then they're going to break up with you. Then you're going to be all in your ego, all in your feelings, and all in your emotions, and they're all going to be wrong. They've been hijacked, and you're going to feel a lot of things. You're going to feel fear. You're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel deep depression, sadness. You're going to feel like they just left you and they picked up somebody else and took off, and it was no big deal. It happened overnight, and you're starting to look at them like, wow, they're a facade. And nothing they told me adds up. I mean, it's like they're just a complete lie. But then you also have these mixed feelings because you have cognitive dissonance going on. Their actions didn't meet their words at some point. And you started to catch this, or your intuition was catching this regardless. That one's hard to run over. And they've devalued you and got you to where you're isolated, and you're just empty because they sucked everything from you, and they're not validating anything for you. And you feel like you need validation now, and you have to go through them. You're addicted to them, so you need that next hit. And you want to call them, or they may call you and breadcrumb calls to you and act like if you do better, maybe you can get them back. And maybe they will breadcrumb you these other things about other men. So then, or women, whoever I'm talking to. And then you start to get triangulated. You may not even know the individual. And it gets you to work harder and to really yearn for them more. And they get you in that mode of love bombing to make you feel that they are perfect, y'all. Like they cannot make a mistake, and that they are the best catch out there. So you're trying to convince them of who you are, because it really doesn't make sense. Like they'll start devaluing you in ways that doesn't add up, because they're just, it's all made up. And they're out there shining, and your looks are gone. You're either gaining weight or losing weight. You're imbalanced in your hormones. You're not eating right, not feeling right. You're sick. You got, like heartburn and, high blood pressure, whatever. And you really just want them. But you also, it's like you would angrily fight with them sometimes, or you would fight with them and argue with them because they would get you to your last nerve, man. And then they would eat up your fuel over the phone, or over even an email if you accept that negative energy. That's why I don't even open an email, because if they devalue you and you accept it, you'll have energy transference right there. That's why I say, even though you're not their primary supply anymore, you're still their primary source of supply, even though you're not with them and you're not even dating them right now. I say right now because you usually go back until you wake up. But these are some of the ways that they get you hooked, that gets you into that trauma bond. And the cognitive dissonance tells you, maybe this, maybe that, or maybe I could have did better, or if I don't hurry up and get her back, then she might get with that other guy, or she's got a bunch of options. And, really at the end of the day, you're the one with everything. And they're the one that came to you, more or less. They kind of sought you out. And, you know, all of this, you feel like you went from the highest pedestal to the lowest spot, like Death Valley, I call it. And so you just don't know what to do, but you want to get them back, really. And so you start ruminating. I wanted to go over that because I wanted you to understand that these are a lot of the tactics that they play. And I know a lot of people talk about them, but I don't know if they talk about them quite like this. But the first impressions, the unconditional acceptance is huge. And then the other thing is they're training you how they want you to treat them. See, they're conditioning you and brainwashing you. If you do something over and over and you start to tell people stuff, they can lullaby you, y'all. That's part of the spell. And then they quit doing it with you, and then you just feel like trash, but you're still chasing them. And what I wanted to say about that is they are junkies. They're junkies for supply, for fuel from people. And that supply is your energy. It's your soul energy. It's something that they need that they don't have, they can't generate. And a lot of times, only thing that they can generate is evil. So they have to throw that evil off on somebody. They gotta unload it because they can't process it, and they can't get forgiveness for it, and they can't repent, and they can't apologize. They can't go to God, and they're perpetuating this because they enjoy it and they continue to do it. So being a junkie, like a people fiend, that's why, in a sense, they had sex with you so fast, because a junkie will do anything to get that hit. A junkie will do anything to get that drug. The junkie was with you and only because they wanted to get your drug, and your drug was your soul energy, and to put you in a bind. And so they weren't really there for you at all. And I know people always say that, but really, if you can put it in a perspective of they were here because they wanted the drug, and the drug was your energy. And that's it. And they will perform for the drug. They'll do anything for the drug. That's why they're so promiscuous, because they will have sex with somebody for their drug, their fuel. And it's not just like regular energy. It is like your soul energy, your traits, and your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts. It's almost like that's why when they leave you, they literally have done a fuel exchange with you. And you are walking around literally with feeling like the way they feel on a daily basis when they don't have that drug, because you received it. That's why I used to say that it's almost like you're forgiving them of their sins, because the emotional field is what houses your sins or something. That's where it manifests. The sin manifests in your emotions and your emotional field and your aura, your vibration. Remember I said yesterday, your vibration is an algorithm of exactly who you are. You vibrate, your vibration is based on your integrity, your relationship with God, everything. Everything would, I'm sure, in the spirit realm would be a algorithm to tell how healthy you are in humanity, and how healthy you are with a relationship with God, and how healthy you are on treating people and having integrity when nobody's around. It all becomes your vibration. It's your fingerprint. And they take all that. So you're walking around with their fingerprint almost, and they're walking around with yours. And that's why I say you always have to pay for receiving their energy. Now you have to burn that off, and you have to pay for the reaping of that. And then when they're going out there, they're out there with your fingerprint. That's your fuel. That's your soul energy. That's deep energy. It's not just, what you would give somebody else in humanity as love or compassion or hate or anger or whatever. It's deeper than that. It's to the core you're talking about, because we're talking about they have demons, man. And they have a way of opening you up, spelling you, and pulling out that deep energy. And that's why you feel empty. You don't really typically feel as empty and soulless if you had another relationship break with somebody. Not like this, y'all. And so what happens? They do it for the energy, the addiction, the supply. They'll give you sex, they'll give you anything, and they'll give anybody that, because they'll do it for the adrenaline, the thrill. You see? They'll do it for the emotions, the interactions. And if they don't have it, I mean, they're completely antisocial, And they're in such a hate and anger state that nobody can be around them. They're horrible. They have to pick themselves up, and it takes a lot to do that. That when they have several narcissist injuries and they have a collapse, narcissistic collapse. When they have no fuel, no energy. See, what happens is when they don't have energy, that's their drug. When they don't have supply, when they don't have people around them, they lost them all. Or you discard them and they don't have somebody to go to get fueled up or to get to that level of fuel. A lot of times, a friend can't fuel them like a love partner or an empathic love partner. So if you're supplying 80% of their fuel, their drug every day, and you leave them, discard them before they discard you or something like that, then what's going to happen is they're going to be fiending. So they're going to be very promiscuous. They'll be willing to go out and they do risky things. They would talk about this in psychology. They do risky things like drinking too much, doing all kind of stuff. And they will do that because they got to get those hits and they're fiending. But that's kind of what they don't really go into depth about. It makes sense. And this is what happens. So they'll go out and they'll do all these things, anything it takes. Because what they're doing on a daily basis and all they are, if you want to define them, we always say they're nothing, but what they really are is just a plotter and schemer of evil. That's it. That's really what defines them. But there is nothing in there outside of, because plotting and scheming would be the best thing to describe them as, because they're looking for drug, the people drug, to abuse, use, and to siphon fuel off people via sex or anything. And they do it. And they do it for the adrenaline. That's why they will take any kind of emotion from you when you break up with them. And you think, well, if I'm angry with them or I'm disgusted with them and I tell them that, or I hate them or whatever, in the anger phase, you're like, why would they like that? You would think that they would just like the love, adoration, admiration. No, they like the hate more because that empowers them. Adrenaline, fuel empowers them, makes them feel like they can go out and destroy the world. Because that's what they get from that. It's like, they're kind of like saying, I did that to you? Wow. And humanity would never think like this, but this is how it is. And they get that, it revs them up. It gives them a surge of energy, y'all. And they go out there and they'll have energy and fuel to do things. But the admiration, adoration, that doesn't really give them that pump up, that surge. It gives them praise and worship. It helps them know that that mask is on there clean and it's positioned right and it's working well. But the adrenaline from the hate, the anger, the disgust, all of that gives them, that's like nitrous oxide in your car, And so this is how it works. But a lot of times, these are the type of people that they watch you collapse. They watch you fall, and they think it's hilarious. This is the type of energy that kicks you when you're down. While you're down, they're kicking you. They're laughing at you. They're out with their friends that are narcissists, and they're mocking you and talking. If you knew what they were saying about you while they're not with you, you'd never talk to them again. And they watched you go through this dark night of the soul, and they pointed the finger. They were laughing. They thought it was hilarious. But then you went through a shift, and you always go through a shift. If you're really into healing, you're going to go through a shift, and through that shift, they'll even make fun of you because you're done. You look terrible, and they did that to you. But what happens with that shift is at some point you start to recover and you start to get a new energy about you. And that fuel that they stole from you, you start to regenerate it. That negative fuel that you were wearing, you start to shed it. And when you can get more happiness in your life than sadness, when you can start to regenerate your old self back, it becomes powerful, y'all, because you are on a new journey. You're going to be on your purpose, and you're going to know, especially if you know this is a spiritual orchestration and an issue, you're going to know that you are here for a purpose, and you're going to get on that purpose. And at some point, you're going to get a new energy, a new perspective. You're going to shift your thinking. Sometimes you got to look at it from a different angle. Well, how can I look at it and be triumphant? And they watched you go through this, even this energy shift and this switch. They still mocked you. But at some point, things straightened out. Something happened. Even when you switched job titles, you switched departments, you moved locations, they thought you were done, y'all. But you were doing work in the spirit realm that was shifting you, because the whole time you were on the wrong path. And the narcissist, through the trauma, as hard as it was and disgusting as it was and horrible as it was, when you get through it, you're going to be on your path, baby. They got you back on your path. They shifted you back on your path. And that's why that all good things, that all bad, even evil, that the enemy will send out will turn good for those that are workers of goodness and godliness. I mean, it will change. And something new started. And you switched it up. And you became successful. More successful than you were before. And you leveled up several times over. And what the narcissist hates is when they have an opinion of you. They have this idea of you when they meet you, and that you can never surpass whatever that idea is. And when you surpass it, when you continue on that road, you give them nothing, and you level up several times over, they will hide from you because you had a major change, and they can't handle it. And they feel ridiculous. They're embarrassed about the way that they treated you. They're disgusted in themselves. They will self-shame themselves and have a narcissist collapse over that. But who cares? Who cares whatever happens to them? You keep on your journey, and you just know that if you plug along, this will end. It will get better, and you will succeed, and you will prosper, and you will get new purpose, new drive, new energy, new fuel. You will switch it up, and you will find purpose and passion in your life today. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope this helps somebody out there today. If you can give me a like, subscription, and thumbs up. Till next time. Soldier up. Peace. We out.